Hello and welcome to back to the DJWW Auto Diagnostics YouTube channel. Today we are looking at a fault on my 2007 BMW E91. We have an issue with the brakes, the front brakes. They are quite worn anyway, so we're going to replace the discs and pads, but we're hoping in the process of that to solve or remove a fault that we have with a shake that comes on when you brake from 60 or so, and it's a shake that comes on when you press the brake pedal. So it comes on between about 60 and 50. Once the speed gets below 50, it goes away then and everything's okay. It's a very strange fault, and I'm hoping to demonstrate that in just a moment. It gets worse with however much. So if you use the brakes more, you generate more heat, the fault gets worse. It could be an issue with the caliper. I'm not 100% sure at this stage, but at this point we're going to rule the disc and pads out for any issues, hopefully. If we build the speed up a bit as best we can, you can just about see it there. It shakes, and then when the speed gets below about 50 miles per hour, it disappears. If we just let this gentleman go a bit. Then we'll build the speed up. When you brake, and it doesn't do it every time. It doesn't. It's the most annoying thing sometimes. But when it does do it, it's really noticeable, and it is really quite uncomfortable. So we're going to have another try. There it goes. Look, you can see it shakes from side to side, and when you get down to about 50, it disappears. It's like a resonant frequency sort of thing. So personally, I don't think it is the caliper. I think there's something wrong with the discs. I've also got a suspicion that we've got the wrong brake pads fitted as well, which I'll go into in a bit more detail when we have a look at the parts that we've got. But that seems to be the main issue, and we're going to take it back to the workshop now, and we're going to start having a look at the new parts, and we'll discuss what we've got. Yeah. Okay, and the other issue that we have with these pads, and this is why I think it may well have had the wrong pads in from the start, is that when you, I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but if you go backwards now, slowly, so you go back, and then when you stop, didn't do it that time, let's try going forwards. It's like a funny kick you hear it from both sides. I don't know how well the camera will pick the sound up, but just as you press the brake pedal and start to put the pressure onto stop, yeah, you have this sort of kicking, clacking sound from both sides, and that's been there for a long time, and I personally think that's because the pads are the wrong size, but I'll discuss that in just a moment. Okay, so we're back in the workshop now. These are the parts that we've got. These are Comline discs and pads. And a big shout out here to Salvage Rebuilds UK, who put me onto this particular brand. They're a coated brand and such, and we'll give them a go, and they're available for a very good price. So we're all good there. Now, the point to go back to the discs kicking and banging that maybe the camera picked up or it didn't, Basically, there are two. When you go on the Comline website and you have a look at the parts catalogue for the pads, there are two different sizes of pads. One pad that is 65mm in height, and a pad that is 68mm in height. Now, I can't find anywhere else where this 65mm pad is mentioned. When you have a look on the ATE website, which is the OEM manufacturer for the brakes on this car, it states explicitly that it is the 68mm pad variety that you require for this car. So that's obviously the one we've gone for. It is my suspicion, and I'm going to check this when we get the pads out, that the pads on there are the smaller 65mm size. That will certainly explain the banging that we're getting from the brakes, I would have thought. If they're loose in the caliper, it all sort of makes sense. The other thing that we're going to do, we're going to measure the discs. Once we've got the caliper off, we're going to measure the discs for run out, and I'm also going to measure the thickness of the disc at 3 or 4 points around the disc, just to make sure that we've not got the disc being thicker in one part and thinner in the other, which doesn't seem very plausible, but you know, we're looking for reasons at the moment why we have this vibration from 60 to 50 miles per hour when braking. So that's what we're going to try and find an explanation for that. Okay, and we'll come back once we've got the caliper off and we've got the brakes in bits a bit more. Okay, so we've got these pads out now, and having measured them and checked them, they are absolutely identical to the new pads are absolutely identical to the ones that we've just taken out. Now we can see from the pads that have come out, when we compare both of them, we can see the wear on them is quite even. And they're worn, but they're not, you know, worn down to the metal by any stretch. You know, there'd be a few thousand more miles in them, but like I say, we're looking to fix this issue. I think the next thing to do, on the basis that we've not found any evidence of any issue there, is to come back to the disc, which it's got a ridge on it. Yes, I'm going to measure the thickness of that disc in a moment, and but again, it's not unduly or dangerously worn. It's but like I say, we have this horrific vibration. I do believe the disc in question is a Mintex disc, which again is a reputable brand. There's no reason. You know, it's been on there for quite a while, but you know, there's no reason for, you know, the disc to be causing this issue. But we're going to measure the run out, and we're going to measure the thickness in 4 different places around this disc to see if we can identify anything that could be possibly causing this. Otherwise, we'll replace the parts and test drive it and see if that helps. And just to add to what I was just saying, that on the Comline website, there are definitely 2. When you put in the BMW part number, it comes up with 2 varieties of pad. One which is 68mm across, measuring from top to bottom, which both of these pads are. It's actually 68.6mm. I've measured those with a vernier caliper, and that is the size they are. So unfortunately, that isn't what has been causing the banging issue, going backwards and forwards. So, you know, we've measured them and checked. These pads are absolutely identical in size. So yeah, let's crack on with getting the carrier off from here now, and then we'll have a look at the disc. Okay, so I've got a dial gauge now set up on this disc. First we're going to measure from the outside, and we're going to do one full turn and just see how much run out we have on this disc. So if we set this off now and turn this, you see we're heading up towards 0.1mm, and it stops to about 8 or 9. And then as it comes back, there it is, sort of -2, and that's it. We're back where we start. So we've got roughly 0.1 of a millimetre or 1/4 hour of run out on that disc on the outside edge. I'm going to get set up now on the inside edge and see if we get a similar reading. Okay, so we're on the inside of the disc now, and we're just going to measure here, see if we see anything here. So let's spin it up. So when we go, we're going up to about 0.05 and back to about 0.02, and that's it. We're back where we started. So again, not excessive run out. There's only 3, maybe 4th hour of run out there on that disc. It's nothing massive. They don't seem particularly warped or anything like that. I think the next thing we're going to do is get the disc on the bench and actually measure the thickness of it with the micrometer. Okay, so my dad's in charge on the left hand side today. So we're just going to check this disc as well. If we on the outside first. And again, we're getting up towards 0.1 of a millimetre. Yeah, again, about 4th hour. Nothing to get excited about, really. Let's set up on the inside. Okay, and on the inside, same again. We got up to what, about 6, 7. And we're back. That's 1 full revolution. So again, only about 3 thou. Nothing major. The next thing we're going to do now is take the discs off and get them on the bench and measure them with a micrometer. Okay, in the interest of keeping this video rolling, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to rebuild this now with the new parts. At the end of the video, when we've tidied up a bit, we're going to check the thickness of those brake discs and just see if we can identify anything there. The only other thing to note is there's no looseness or anything like that from the wheel bearing or anything like that, no noise, anything like that, no noise, no play. So no concerns there. At this point we're going to get this rebuilt. There are literally hundreds of videos on YouTube detailing brake rebuilds, so we're not going to go through the whole rigmarole of that. We've got these coated discs from Comline, which we're going to fit, and we'll get them fitted up, and we'll see if it's helped with the problem. Okay, so we're back now, fully rebuilt, with everything back together. Thought it'd be interesting just to measure the run out on the new disc. I'm not quite sure how valid this test will be, because also we've still got the paint on the discs and they've not been bedded in yet, but we'll do this anyway for the sake of comparison, and we'll see what we get. So at the moment on the outside we're getting about 0.15 of a millimetre, which I reckon is about 6 thou. So let's quickly put it on the inside and we'll see what that says. Okay, so let's spin this one up, see what we get. Again, about 0.1 of a mil, about 4 thou. Nothing major. So I think what we're going to do at this point is put the wheels on and go for a drive and see how it behaves. And we've measured on the other side as well, exactly the same. So yeah, let's take it for a drive, see what happens next. Okay, so what we're doing at this point is setting up the micrometer on the outside of the disc. And what's becoming evident at this point is that if you set the micrometer up on the inside of the disc, or as far as we can reach, so sort of halfway across, like that, the disc is worn a hell of a lot more on the outside edge, with, I estimate, probably another 0.5 millimetre, maybe almost a millimetre of extra wear right on the edge of the disc. And I haven't test driven the car yet at speed. That will come in just a moment. But at the moment, this is the only explanation that we can really have as to what is causing all of this vibration. It's this extra wear right on the outside of the disc, and I can only put that down to extra, because relatively speaking, the outside of the disc is travelling faster than the inside of the disc, so maybe we get more wear right on the outside of the disc. Maybe it's just the fact that the discs are knackered and they need to be replaced. But it has been doing this for a very long time. This is not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination. It's this has been an ongoing thing now for a couple of years, maybe. It has, and obviously the discs have worn more in that time. So at the moment, we took a measurement on the outside of the disc of 26.17 millimetres. Now, the original thickness of the disc is 30 millimetres from factory, so that is a lot of wear. So we're talking, almost 2 millimetres each side of the disc wear. So maybe we can, looking at them, there is a big lip here and quite a big lip here, but not sort of a millimetre's worth of a lip even. So it's very difficult to say. Now we're just looking at it. So if you move that now to the outside of the disc, you get a heck of a lot of play. The disc is thinner at the outside than it is, an inch in from the edge of the disc. So in the middle of the disc, in the centre of the disc there. How many?
It's quite a bit more. It's about 0.7.
So
0.7 of a millimetre.
About 0.7 of a millimetre thinner at the edge.
There, so we don't know what it is.
So it may well. We haven't got enough wide enough micrometer to check in the middle, but it's my suspicion, looking at it, it may well be thicker still in the inside. So it's almost like it's sort of stepped. It is. So we've got the. So that on both sides, the disc is thicker on the inside, thinner at the edge, and just vicious, uneven wear. And it's 60 miles per hour, give or take, just happens to be the resonant frequency where you feel it at the most extreme. Why it doesn't do it when it's cold? When the discs are stone cold, the first time you brake in the morning, when you've been on the motorway for for half an hour or so with no braking, and the discs are cold, when you get to the roundabout at the end of that dual carriageway, and the discs are cold, it doesn't do it. However, the next roundabout, a minute or two later, it does it, and then the roundabout after that, it's worse. So, yeah, at the moment we can only put this down to uneven wear. I'm just about now to go and test drive the car, and I will report back how it drives and if the issue's still there. Well, we'll see what it says. So we'll come back. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do for this job now obviously is to reset the service indicator for the front brakes. Now I believe from memory we do it by holding down the trip reset button here. Let's just try that once more. So you hold it down, I think. I think you hold it down, that's how you do these things. Let's just start again. Let's try it with the ignition on, I think that usually helps. So you hold it down. That's it, hold it down and then you flick up. So that's the rear brakes. So that is the front brake there. And then you hold it down. And then you hold it down until it flicks to reset. And there you go. Done. And then we can confirm that here. If you've got iDrive on your car, you should also see it. Here now in the service history. There we go. Just there, so that's it. Okay, one further point to add to that with regards to the service reset. If the service is overdue, I do believe you need a scan tool to actually reset the service. We've got various options that are available via my website at djwwautodiagnostics.co.uk. There's a link in the description there if you want to go and have a look. Okay, so I've been driving now for about 30 minutes or so, and I'm pleased to report we've got absolutely no issues. There's all of the vibration through the steering, and when braking from around about 60 miles per hour has gone. I'm just about to brake now. I'm from 65 or so. If I brake now, we've got absolutely no vibration at all through the steering wheel. The issue appears to be fixed. So I think at this point we're all good. Okay, so I think we're ready to wrap this one up. Our job is a complete success. We've changed the discs and pads, and having measured them, the only conclusion that we can come to is the fact that the discs had got uneven wear on them. I guess they call that. I guess we call that the discs being warped. There's up to 1 millimetre of difference in places from the outside edge to the inside edge on the thickness of the disc, and that was what was causing the horrific vibration. I'm not sure it came across that well on the camera, but either way the vibration's gone now, and hopefully this will help other people. In terms of the pads, it turns out that we did have the right pads all along. I was quite surprised by that. I thought we were going to have the wrong pads, which would account for the banging and the incorrect fitment. I believe the discs and pads in question are Mintex pads. I'll be honest, I'm looking at how rusty they and how unsightly they become also. I won't be having them on again. The car itself has got 254,000 on, so it's obviously gone through quite a few discs and pads. Hopefully the Comline discs will serve it well. They do look really good quality. They do, and they're a fraction of the price of the Pagid items from Euro Car Parts. So can't go wrong really, and such. So again, a big shout out to Salvage Rebuilds UK, who you know, who use Comline products a lot, and you know, they never have any problems. So I figured I would give these a go, and we'll see how it goes. So nothing else to say really, apart from like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we're planning to release more videos and hopefully some interesting content and such. So yeah, see you on the next one.